Hey everyone, Mr. Phil here. I've been playing with the Amazon Prime kit some more, and I've actually been going through some of the training and lessons they have, the unit plans, and been discovering some really cool gadgets that the Lego designers have created to work with this new Lego set. And some of them is too cool, and I really just wanted to show you the specifics and point out some of the really neat stuff that I found. So I'm going to go through a part of a build to show you the cleverness, and then I'll continue on and just show you the entire lesson just to see what you can do with it. But it's just problem solved that have been a problem for a while. It's really cool to see some neat solutions to it. All right, so here we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with unit plans. I'm going to go to this unit plan. I'm going to go to Invention Squad, and I'm going to go down to the Super Cleanup. I went through the first couple of projects, the help and the hopper race, and they're cool. They're good projects. But what I found with the super cleanup one, it was really pretty neat. So I'm going to hit the start, and there's a little video you can play over here. I'm not going to play that right now. And we're going to step through. I'm going to go to the build step, and there's actually 3 different builds here. The controller, the grabber 1, the grabber 2. I'm just going to start with the grabber 1 because it just illustrates what I wanted to show, and it's the way they've created an opening and closing motion with just the one rotating drive. And I guess what I'll do here is I guess I'll just start building this. Sure, here we go. So the clever thing here is we're going to basically be building a single motor claw, which is not that unusual, but it gets created without any gears or things like that, which is pretty neat. Ooh, purple piece. So these are kind of cool. I haven't used these before, but I guess I'm going to learn now how clever they are. All right, so this is where the fun starts, this section down here. And you'll notice that we've just got, on the first 2 pegs, we're going to use to mount the claw assembly. And I guess this axle is, it's a 3. Here we go. My kitty cat wants in. All right. And then this purple piece is the cross brace, which holds the 2 grippers together and forms the central mount. So these are going to be the main pivots, I think. All right, so then we're going to build a little separate attachment here. And this piece here is going to be the lever that pushes against one of the claws. Now notice this is a special piece because it has a hole and a plus on it. So we're attaching into the hole here. All right, so I'm attaching this now to the, oops, the wrong way. Attaching this to the axle, and it's going to be able to move left and right. Now, probably what I should do here before I do this is turn the motor so that the 0 is on the 0. That way, we know that the center position, we know where the center position is. If we tell it to go to angle 0, it's going to go right there. And I imagine angle 0 is going to be the jaws in one position or the other. All right, so now we're going to make the funky little springy clips. And this aspect, this piece is pretty generic. This could be anything. This could be any kind of gripper you want, any kind of mechanism. I'm having trouble finding my 4 axes here. Again, those cool purple blue pieces, and they notice that they head out in opposite direction to the yellow piece. So the yellow and the blues run in opposite directions. and just some regular studs. Some 5 beans. And I assume everyone realizes that this number here, the number 5, indicates how many holes there are. Everything's measured in terms of Lego holes or studs in the Lego world. Okay, this is pretty straightforward so far. And as I said, these grippers are kind of cool because these are kind of like a flexible gripper. One of the other pieces you do a solid gripper. All right, so these are going to get added to the main motor. And the interesting thing to note here is, or the important thing is that there's an empty hole behind and in front of this pivot. See, so they both can pivot independently currently. And what we're going to do is this piece here is going to attach to this arm, and so when this rotates, the arm will move in and out. Now, you'll notice that these aren't both the same. This one of these little pegs is just a regular peg on the back on the opposite side, but on the front side, it's one of these longer pegs. It's going to go all the way through and attach in there. So now this left peg is moved by the motor, so the left arm, and the right arm doesn't do anything. The next thing is what I thought was the cleverest piece. All right, so what we have here is we're going to add this piece here. Just make sure you can see this. Yeah, okay. I'm going to add this piece here. And you'll see what it's doing. It's acting as a linkage between the front peg, if I can get it in the hole here. Come on. All right, so this is the clever part. So you notice now, as I open one, the other one closes. So the reason that's clever is because we couldn't have put a diagonal brace across here because probably it wouldn't have been the right size. We probably wouldn't have been able to find a peg that would go across there and be even. See, that hole's too far apart and that one's too close. But by using this peg that has this piece that has a similar shape, it lets us bridge those two. And the other really cool thing is when this peg gets moved across this way to the left, it's going to move this entire piece across to the left, which is going to move this peg across by the same amount. Because these distances are the same from the pivoting point to the peg, it means that for whatever angle this one rotates this way, this one's going to rotate the same angle in that direction. And that's the really clever part. So that with one pivoting axle and one cross brace there, we've done what normally would have to do with gears and stuff. The beauty is because this arrangement is fairly straightforward, it can be made larger or smaller without needing multiple gear sizes. So this is the really clever piece that I thought was going on here. And now we're going to mount this to the hub and the control button. So I'm just going to go through and do that really quickly. Here we are. So now I'm going to do the main controller. And what you see here is the hub, and it has a touch force sensor attached to it so that it can be used as a trigger to control the open and closing here. So we're going to build that. Oh, well, I guess I need to go back. And it's the controller here. Okay, so we put our controller, put our battery pack in. Very good. Rotate it around, figure out where these two pegs go. These pieces look like they're the new llamas. They have holes in all directions and no pegs, so you can do all sorts of cool stuff with them, I guess. Ooh. Remember, this is not only a touch sensor, but also a force sensor. So I think the touch sensor is used in this model. I'm going to update it to use the force sensor. So they're using this little piece here to hold the cable. And as with all good Lego projects, you want to cross brace them in both directions, front and back. All right, it says plug it into E, and I have done that. All right, so now that I've done this, and I have these two pieces, I guess I need to plug this into one of these, don't I? Looks like it goes into this other one over here. Cool. All right, so I guess I need to plug in my brick here. Oopsie. Turn it on, I guess, as well. Nice. And good, I'm connected. And all right. So I'm looking at this program here. It's interesting because we have two events. One is if E is pressed, or when E is pressed, do this, and when E is released, do this. So when we say it's pressed, it turns on the stall detection for A. Now, stalling is when you try and turn a motor and it will no longer turn. It means it's stalled. And so by turning stall detection off, I guess that means that when you tell the motor to go and it can't move anymore, it'll keep the force applied. It'll keep on applying the force. When we turn stall detection on, when it senses that that's not moving anymore, it'll probably shut down the motor, which is, I think, what's meant to happen here. So let's try this. So if I push this button here, which is the E, I push it. Oh, I guess I need to download and run this program. Silly me. All right, so download it as program 0. Are we running? I don't know. Yes, I guess we are. So I pressed it and I'll let go. So can you see that? Press, let go. Press, let go. So when I let go, it turns off. It turns on the stall detection and tells the motor to rotate clockwise. And what that does is, I guess this is clockwise from above. So underneath, it's counterclockwise. So this little blue piece moves to the left, which pushes the white piece, which then pushes the purple piece here, which is linked to the other one. And so it pushes it until it stalls, which is what happens when it gets to the end of the motion, at which point it probably turns the motor off. Yeah, see, the motor's off now because I can move it. When I push the button, now I can't move the motors because stall detection is not on, so it's just continuing to put force on there. So I guess that means I can pick stuff up. What can I pick up? I don't know. How about some circuit boards? Not the best. A little too heavy. Oh, here we go. Perfect. All right, so that's kind of cool. So that's the program as it goes there. So now what I want to do is I want to try doing something with the force sensor. So if I look at this up here, currently they're open and they're at 20 degrees. When I push the button, they go to minus something, well, 225, which is minus 35. And you can see my little force sensor. I can get it go from 0 to 10. Also up here. So I'm trying to think of what could I do so that it reads the force sensor and it goes to a certain angle. I guess the trick is I don't know if I tell it to go to a negative angle, will it go to the opposite side of 0? So I need to do a little test here. So I'm going to create a different program here. When pressed, so if I say when pressed, motors, more motors, let's show everything. Motors, go to shortest path to position. And so I'm going to say, make that, what was it, 350? Sure. So when I press the button, oh yeah. All right, so I'm going to try that. I'm going to download it. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to download it. I guess it's at 350. Really? Because it's not. I guess that's not enough of an angle. So I'm going to go over here, 35 degrees. So I'm going to push the button. I don't know about you, but I have these moments where I look back at something I did and I look and I go, oh, that was dumb. Why didn't you figure that out sooner? Well, the last segment that I was just filming, I couldn't figure out why the motors didn't go to the position I was telling them to go to as I was changing the program. And it finally dawned on me what the problem was. And it was nothing to do with the program. It was just what I was assuming. You know, assuming is when you put, you know, assuming between is when you put an S between you and me. No, anyway. If you look at the program, I've just modified it slightly here. I'll go back to the original in a second, but I've got two events here, button pressed and button released. And when I run the program, it's pretty straightforward. Press it, release it, press it, release it. And you can see when I'm pressing it, a little yellow lights up to say what I'm doing. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. So what I was doing is I was changing the angles. And I'd go in here and I'd type in a number, or I'd move this, and then I'd download the program, and I couldn't figure out why it didn't change. So I just changed that second angle to be almost exactly the same as the first one. So right now, both of these should go to the same position. So if I download it and I push the button, it still works exactly the same way it used to. Well, the reason for that is because this little pop-up is still here. You got to get rid of that and do the download. And now, see, now they both go to the same position like I told it to, no difference. So if I want to fix that, I got to go back here, got to change this to 20, and I have to get out. I have to click away before I download. So that's today's lesson number 2, which is, yeah, don't always assume that you know what you're doing. All right, back to our regularly scheduled program. So open is 35, okay, and then closed is, I wonder if I can put a minus in here. I probably can't. I'm confused. Oh, motor powers. Not good. Start motor, stop motor, set speed. 100%. Try that. Can't tell which way it's trying to turn. It's definitely trying to go out. Oh, that's right. I've got these back to front, don't I? 300. Okay, I had it wrong. Okay, so yeah, so after that testing, what I realized I was thinking about this motor up this way instead of this way. Oh, I just realized the difference here. So on this side of the motor, oh, that's very clever. So on this side of the motor, you've got pegs that let you attach whatever it is you're turning more strongly to the rotating part of the motor. On this side, you have the regular little small axle hole and spaces to attach pegs to mount things that will actually sit on the motor. So that's why this piece is attached to this side of the motor, so that this pivot could be attached to the body of the motor. Whereas if we did it on this side, there'd be no way to attach the pivot point to the body of the motor. So that's why it's upside down here. All right. Okay, I get it. I get it. All right, this is fun. All right, so let's stop that so it doesn't ruin itself here. So what I'm trying to do is think up a way that when it's in this out position and we have 0 newtons, it's open. And then when we push it in, it gets all the way up to 10, it closes. So what I want to do is get rid of that and that and that. Go to control, get myself a forever loop, and put it here. So that when I run this program, actually, and I guess really what I want is, I want to, when program starts. When program starts, set the speed to 100, turn off stall detection, and then loop forever. And then what I want to do is I want to set the motor position based on the force. And I have to do a little bit of math to figure out how to do this. So sensors, force, pressure in percent. So I can do pressure in percent or in newtons. So the tricky part here is that I needed to go from 20 to 360, sorry, 340, but I needed to cross past 0. So I think I'm going to try a little bit of clever negative math and see if this works. So where's my math? Where's my math? Control, math, line blocks, variables, operators. Okay, so when I have 0 force, I want it to be position 20 degrees. Is that correct? Yes. So I'm going to take 20 and then I'm going to subtract something from it. So number, where is numbers? There must be numbers here. Can I just put a number in here? I can. Okay. 20 minus, I'm going to have to do a multiply here because I'm going to have to scale this thing. Force, so pressure in newtons, which is 0 to 10, times 4. Okay, so what that means is when pressure in newtons is 0, it's going to be 0 times 4, which will be 0. So the result of this will be 20. When newtons is 5, which is halfway, times 4 will be 20. So it'll be 20 minus 20. So I should put it to position 0. The question is, when newtons get above 5, this will give me a negative value. So the real question is the Lego software smart enough to figure out that minus 10 is actually 350? We will see. Oopsie. We will see. So can we see what we're doing here? Get rid of this here. We're setting the force to set the position. So let's try that and see what happens. Woohoo. Oh, look at that. broken it. I gave it a negative position and it didn't like it. Oh no, that's not good. Let's try that again. All right, so it's good when the sensor's reading 0, the angle's going to 20. So as I push in the sensor, look at the numbers. When I get to 5, it should go to 0 degrees. And when I keep pushing it forward, oh, it worked. Oh, it did work. Oh my gosh, look at that. So I can control the position. So it is smart enough. Oh yeah. See that? Oh, I love it. Let's move this so that you can see what I'm doing here. It's a little slow because the go to position is, it takes a certain amount of time to get to the position. Cool. All right, there you go. So if you persevere, you can do stuff. But that's a good combination of a clever new sensor and a really cool little building structure down here. So thanks very much, guys. Whoopsie, up here. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for coming and watching. Hopefully you've learned something. I know that I'm going to use this technique again in the future when I need to do a little opening and closing jaw thing. That's really cool. All right. Thanks a lot. See you later.